Now, a joint police and military team have taken over 3 towns in the North Gonja district of the Savannah region, arresting about 70 persons following communal clashes there, which has left at least 1 person dead. The district capital, Daboya, Lukula, and Mimpiasem are now ghost towns after many young men there fled for fear of being arrested. Schools, markets, and other public places have all been shut down, with residents keeping indoors. We take you live there now. Correspondents Isaac Nonya and Rebecca Natoma in the Savannah region and Elias Utanko in the Northeast are all joining us now via Zoom for us to bring you, details of what's happening on the ground. Now, first, let me start with you, Isaac. How did this all start? Isaac, I want to find out from you the genesis of all of this problem that we are now, being faced with. How did it start, really?
Well, let's look at the recent one. There's this school at Mitiasem that was closed down due to skirmishes last year. So the people there, who are mostly temperaments and then decided that the children should start reading Quran over there. So when they gathered there with the children to start reciting the Quran, another resident who from a distance saw the gathering mistook them to be warriors from Daboya, Gonja warriors. And we are told from the security sources that he placed a call to a high-profile person at Janga, and then based on that, they sent in some warriors to Lukula. So based on that incident, the Gonjans also had similar information that there were warriors who entered the town from Lukula, from Janga. They also moved towards Mitasem to be there and monitor the situation. For 3 days, the two sides were monitoring each other till yesterday the attack came, resulting in the loss of 1 person and then the injury of about 3-4 others.
Is it when we understand that a chief was also picked up or shot in his home? Is it all part of this particular matter?
Exactly. This person happened to be the elder of the Mampusi at Lukula. He was one that came to Wasipe to seek the smoking of a peace pipe or some cordiality between the two sides. We are told that after the clashes, some youth from the Gonja side traced into the farm because they did not understand why you came to seek for dialogue. How come you brought in people that turned out to attack us? And that was how he was shot. I will speak about the police just confirmed that 107 suspects have been running up, all of them men, and we just spotted them being carried, transported towards family police headquarters. The one other person who we told was beaten and admitted at the Daboya hospital here, his situation is very critical, and he can be transported to family teaching hospital for tertiary medical attention. I will speak. You can't see any able-body like a man in town. All shops remain locked. Taxis are not moving anyhow. You see 1 or 2 women on the street. Come to the houses where I'm standing. A good number of women are here. And some of the women who spoke to me actually complained and saying that their husbands were innocent. They just returned from farm only to be picked at dawn from their room. So they had nothing to do either than to release their husband to come back and shoulder responsibility as fathers and then husbands.
But if they are calling for their husbands to be released, are they saying that their husbands are innocent of this allegation?
Surprisingly enough, one of the women told me that he gave me a percentage that about 90% of those arrested were innocent. I have friends in the community. I got here, I called them. Some that was able to reach home that they're in the bushes.
Okay.
I asked why they were there and will not come to town. They said, no, the situation is not friendly. And they remain where they are because they are innocent and they don't want to be picked among anybody they may have suspected to be their target.
Okay.
Well, some of them are complaining that while their colleagues have gone overboard, they go to the extent of attacking the police commander was something, a no area. So generally, the situation is not something that is accepted. by some residents in Daboya.
But you are there now. If you are to paint a mental picture of how the community is, how is it like now?
Daboya is now a community for women and children. I can spot 2-3 children everywhere I go. Businesses is down. Anything commercial is down. Workers, public or private, are off their workplaces. Everybody remains in his or her house. You can see 1 or 2 women gathered in the house, all that are discussed about that. But the men, you won't see them. No, you won't see any man. We have seen, I spotted a police station, a good number of police officers are there. And then those that you can also see moving around, elderly women who cannot even visit each other from their homes. For the hospital, you can see nurses there working. That is it.
Okay. All right.
The town is normally a ghost town.
Let me bring in Eliasu Tanko now. Eliasu, you have a statement on this particular development. What does it say?
Well, this statement comes from the overlord of the Mamprogo traditional area, and he has condemned this particular violence in the first place, and he's also calling on all warring factions to stand down, to lay down their arms, and he's also called on the security agencies to go after the perpetrators, and he has also pledged to work with his brother, the Yagwanwura, the president of the Savannah Regional House of Chiefs and overlord of the Gunjaland traditional area. He says he will be working with him to ensure that a lasting solution is brought to this particular matter. He is also urging government to facilitate or speed up effort to ensure that these particular boundaries are demarcated. The land in these particular disputed territories are demarcated. The overlord says he condemns this particular violence in no uncertain terms.
So are we then saying that the land dispute is as a result of improper demarcation of the lands there?
Well, it appears there have not been any demarcation at all. And we know that these particular disputed communities have long been part of the Gunjaland traditional area, and for that matter, the Savannah region. But during the creation of the new regions, the community's members, they protested, saying that they have been socially, politically, and economically neglected. And so they want to be part of the Northeast region. But mind you, the so traditional area, which is in the Northeast region and in the Western Perceived municipality, has also been laying claims to those particular communities. And so this is what gave the community members the legitimacy to say that they do not want to be part of the Savannah region, but to be part of the Northeast region. Okay. And so this is the basis of this particular violence. The protest by the community members to leave the Savannah region to join the Northeast region, and also the claim by the so traditional area in the Northeast region over these particular communities, we understand is the basis for this particular violence.
Now, as of yesterday, we knew that the two regional ministers were meeting on this, out of which led to the dispatching of a combined team of security personnel. What else have we gathered they are doing in terms of trying to restore calm in these places?
We understand a meeting is being scheduled between the two overlords, the overlord of the Gunjaland traditional area, as well as the overlord of the Mamprogo traditional area. And this meeting, we understand, is being facilitated by these two regional house of these two security councils, the Savannah Regional Security Council, as well as the Northeast Regional Security Council. We also understand that the security has been asked to go after the perpetrators in that particular area, and we do know that they are going to extend the time the security forces will be on the ground, and to ensure that whilst they keep calm in this particular community, they open doors for dialogue between these two overlords to ensure that a lasting solution is found. And also, we understand that they are also speeding up process, bringing in the Boundary Commission, because these two regional security councils have already formed a committee which have looked into this particular land dispute, and they have finalized, or their report is ready. So my understanding is that the Boundary Commission actually is being brought in to ensure that they go in and demarcate these disputed lands.
Okay, all right. Grateful to you, but stick with us. Let me share with our viewers the statement that Elias shared with us a while ago, and this from the Mampurugu Traditional Council. It says, statement by the Nairi on the Lukula conflict. I have noted with great concern the conflict between Gonjas and the Mampusis at Lukula and its environs over the past days. This event that led to the death of one person and the destruction of several properties in the affected communities is unfortunate, uncalled for, and a dent on a long-standing cordial relationship between Mampusis and Gonjas that had existed over centuries. I wish to use this medium to call for disarmament by the warring factions whilst I work with my brother Yagbonwura Amonibafe Borenyi, the one or the first, I hope I got the name right, to find lasting solutions to the dispute. The law enforcement agencies are hereby called upon to work to bring the perpetrators of this untoward event to book devoid of any consideration. While at this, the government is also urged to put in more effort in demarcating the land boundaries in the affected communities. In conclusion, I wish to call on all my sons and daughters in the Savannah and Northeast regions to stay calm and embrace peace in the midst of any provocation from recalcitrant individuals. And this is signed by Na Bohugi Mahame Abdullahi Sheriga, the overlord of Mampurugu Traditional Area. So that is the statement coming in there. Now, let us explore this particular matter further by speaking to a member of the security or the Interior Committee of Parliament, and Honorable Nogbe, joining us on phone now for us to take this further, because we understand that a community like Lukula is now a ghost town, or is a town for women and children, as Isaac Nonya put it. All the men in that community have fled in fear of being arrested. Isaac Nonya tells us that some 107 suspects have been picked up by the joint military and police task force working in the community now. We also understand that one person has died as a result of this conflict. Honorable Ernest Nogbe is a member of the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament. He joins us via phone. I'm grateful to you for joining us here, sir. Now, we've had this matter over and over again. First of all, what's your thought on this new or latest conflict that we're hearing from that part of the country?
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon to your listeners or viewers. It's just an unfortunate incident that is happening in that part of the country, and we have to condemn it in no uncertain terms. But I'm also very much grateful that the authorities, the police and the military, are to act swiftly to, at least as it were, to execute some soup and then get some people arrested. And I'm sure very soon come will return to that environment. It's just unfortunate that there's contradictory reports that a number of people who might have lost their lives. And as it were, we are just hoping and praying that the veracity of the matter, or the actual occurrences, and also the death
numbers.
Toll, the death toll, yeah, the numbers will be as a team, and then we move on from there.
You are on the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament. I'm sure you've sat on matters such as this. With what is facing us now, what do you think is the way to apprehend the matter so that we will not be hearing these issues in the frequent manner as they do occur?
Yeah, it's just unfortunate sometimes when it comes to matters between two parties, especially two ethnic groups. It's a very sensitive matter that we normally handle with tact and then it's distance. So this act is made. There are some stakeholders in and around the vicinity, and the very reason why this kind of issues may be occurring in the area must be addressed by these stakeholders and also by the security agencies. By and large, we, the committee, we are not, we don't serve as arbitrators. We only ascertain what exactly transpire and how to maintain peace and security in the area. But the actual reason for which this kind of actions will be taken will be determined by the stakeholders in the various areas once we go in to bring peace and security.
Okay. Usually it is either land dispute or chieftaincy dispute, and this is quite characteristic of most of the conflict that we do hear about. Yeah. What then, in your own view, is the best way to approach this so that we can bring lasting solutions to some of these challenges that confront us in this country?
Yeah, that is a very serious question that will require a professional answer, because I may not be able to determine which faction of these people are right or wrong. And so I think we'll just have to leave that one for the various stakeholders and the authorities to make sure we bring lasting solutions to it. You see what happened in Boku, for instance. It's very difficult for us as a committee to intervene. All that we will seek to do is to make sure that we tell the people to withdraw or to say or to desist from their act, their criminal act. And that's all that we can do. But talk about the root cause of the problem is a sensitive matter that may require that sensitive approach.
Is this something, when you reconvene, you'll probably be getting into to do a fact-finding into it to understand what the issues are and to get the authorities that need to address them to properly find solutions to them?
Rightly so. I will just, let me say that I remembered almost all the occurrences in and around the vicinity. Let me say even Kumasi and then Boku, etc., where we have been engaging the stakeholders and we have been following up on matters of this nature and finding lasting solutions to it. So definitely we'll go on a fact-finding mission to get the veracity of the matter, and then we bring the authorities to book and also to find lasting solutions to it.
All right, I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining us here. Ernest Nogbe is a member of the Defense and Security Committee of Parliament. Moving on to other stories, let's take you to the finance sector, where government has promised to immediately clear all 5 outstanding coupons owed the pensioner bondholders in 2 weeks. This is the outcome of a meeting between the Finance Ministry and the Pensioner Bondholders Forum. James Aveji was there for Joy News.
That meeting with between leadership of the Pensioner Bondholders Forum and the Ministry of Finance has just ended. The meeting was actually called for by the Deputy Finance Minister, Abena Osei-Asare, when she came to meet the pensioner bondholders yesterday at the picketing and called on them to actually halt the picketing and come to the negotiation table with the government. This morning, Dr. Edwana Nientri has been sharing with us their plans, the proposals they have on the table on the side of the pensioner bondholders, with which they are going into the meeting ahead of the meeting. We can listen to him share their side of the bargain with us before the meeting started.
Well, for us, it's on the, in fact, there is the ministry who told us or asked us to have an engagement with us so that we can agree on the payment of the principals. We have said that this is investment capital, the capital that people are investing. If you keep on holding it, the only thing you have to do is to pay interest for the days that you have held these funds. So that is all. This meeting that I'm going is just what interest are you going to pay? Then we can talk about when you are going to pay. If we deal with the interest payment, when you are going to pay will not be too big an issue, because as long as it is with you, it keeps on running as if the bond has not matured. So that everybody will be fine. Except that some people who may need their money now, but we can talk to them that, look, under the circumstances, government cannot get it now. So let's wait for government for some time. But you are assured that you continue to receive interest on that investment until it is paid out to you. So I think that people will be happy with that.
Now the meeting has ended, and the indication we are getting is that government has actually agreed to, with immediate effect, initiate processes to get all 5 outstanding coupons paid immediately, which will mean that between now and Thursday, when the pensioner bondholders converge here for another round of picketing, the Finance Ministry would have paid all 5 coupons that they are demanding payment for. Dr. Edwana Nientri has been sharing with us details of the things that were agreed on in that meeting.
Well, the outcome of the meeting is that the ministry is going to pay the outstanding coupons immediately. So 5 coupons are outstanding. Those coupons are going to be paid immediately. On the principal,
if they say immediately, what does that mean?
They will start the arrangement from today. So we believe by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we would have seen it. For the principal, the ministry is asking for 2 weeks to pay all the outstanding principals. The first one is outstanding for 102 days now. So principals that has been outstanding from February 20th up to 29th May. They are going to pay that within 2 weeks. We were asking for interest on the delayed principals, since we needed that money to reinvest and get our return on our investment for our sustenance. The ministry is pleading that we forgive the interest. We consider the interest, and we have said that we can't give any answer to the minister now, the deputy minister now. So we have agreed that Thursday, the bigger group will meet and hear the ministry, and if they are able to convince the wider group that we should accept the 0 interest for the delayed payment, then we take it from there. And they are going to give us a plan for the payment of subsequent maturities and subsequent coupons. And if that plan comes out, we will be using that plan to test whether government is following the plan. If government doesn't follow it, then of course we would decide what to do next.
Which means that Thursday you picket. Are you picketing or not? And does it mean that all of you are going into that meeting?
We have told the minister or the deputy minister that instead of meeting here, we will come and meet there. So we will come, but we will go into their conference room and have the discussions with them.
Do we consider that as a picketing or a meeting?
Well, it's a meeting. It's a meeting. We will meet. We will meet them on Thursday at their conference room. So it will not be picketing, it will be meeting. We will share ideas. Whatever we conclude on will determine our next course of action.
How does the ministry intend to sustain payment or prevent this whole accruing of the monies?
According to them, liquidity is improving little, and so they will be able to do that.
we can say that you are satisfied for now with this meeting.
So we see what ordinarily we are not coming to the picketing on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So it falls into our plan. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we will see that the payments are started. If the payment have started, then the only thing that remains to be dealt with is the coupon. The coupons too, they have said they will pay within 2 weeks. The only outstanding one is the interest. So Thursday when we meet, we will resolve the interest demand too, and then we will agree on what to do.
We can listen to members of the group on what they make out of the outcome of that meeting.
Well, that's a very fine move on the part of the government. We were given assurances that come next week, the outstanding coupons will be paid, and within 2 weeks, the principal, outstanding matured principal, will also be paid, and that's a welcome news. Of course, you know that government cannot keep somebody's money beyond a certain time without paying interest. So the general agreement was that we'll have a meeting. The minister will have to come and discuss with the general body and agree on the way forward. They would also, they promised that they would give us a schedule on the payments of the future coupons, which is a welcome development. So we just now have to wait for government to do the necessary. They've given assurances in the past, which they've not gone by. So we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's wait Monday. Let's see what happens, and we'll take it from there. We hope this time government would keep its word.
So let me wrap up. That meeting between the pensioner bondholders and the finance ministry on behalf of government, which means that on Thursday the entire group is meeting here, but they are not going to picket. At exactly 9 o'clock, all members of the group will be going into a larger meeting with the ministry, because Dr. Edouard Entry said they would have to agree on the 2 weeks payment schedule proposed by government to clear the principals. Because they were asking that government pays interest on the accrued principals for the past 4 months, which the ministry is actually asking them to look at, or the ministry is actually pleading with them to forgive government those interests. The decision would have to be taken by the entire members of the forum. And so on Thursday, they are meeting here, but we'll go into a meeting with the finance ministry at exactly 9 o'clock. All of that we'll be monitoring and keep you updated from the finance ministry here in Accra. My name is James Kwesi Aveji.
And in our Kokoblele studios, I am Samuel Kojo Brace. Now, the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation's Divisional Union has given Fair Wages and Salaries Commission a 1-week ultimatum to revise what it describes as illegal removal of allowances as it prepares to embark on an indefinite strike. Now, the Divisional Union Chairman, Sam Nat Kevo, indicated that after the cancellation of the allowances, some staff have also suffered a retro net offset deduction between 600 cedis and 800 cedis. The Ghana Broadcasting Corporation's Divisional Union say the union will be forced to lay down its tools in a week's time if Fair Wages and Salaries Commission fails to restore the allowances. Samnat Kevo is the Divisional Union Chairman, and he is with me in the studio. Hi. Good afternoon. I hope all is well.
Not well at all.
All is not well. Aside what's happening.
Yes, since we have life.
Fine. We also have with us Abdul Razak Mohammed. He's chairman, Senior Management Staff Union. Chief, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so you have this challenge with these deductions. Was this something that is part of your agreement that you signed, the collective bargaining agreement?
Samuel, thank you very much for this opportunity to lay what the challenges are because of misconception, false statement being made at the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. All the allowances that we're talking about are allowances that covered in our collective bargaining agreement or collective agreement, both the unionized staff level at the junior level, that's the rank and files, and that of the senior management union. So what he's saying, it is not true. Now, these allowances are in different stages. We have what we call category 2 and 3 non-core allowances and category 3 and core common allowances. These allowances are common to most of the public sector workers, various organizations within the public sector spectrum. Now, what they do is that at 2013, there was an agreement at the Public Sector Standing Joint Negotiation Committee that agreed that such allowances that are common to most of the public sector workers will be negotiated at that level. You know, negotiation began with tripartite. We determined the minimum wage. After that, the base pay, which is done at the Public Standing Joint Negotiation Committee. After that, they also negotiate on those allowances. Those allowances are common to GBC, other organizations that belong to the public service. So, apart from that, the collective agreement of unionized staff of GBC and that of the senior management staff also are covered in that direction.
Okay.
When it's
and it is in tandem.
It's in tandem.
With the already agreed terms.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, since that agreement was done in 2013, no individual organizations like GBC will go to Fair Wages to separately negotiate what we call attainment allowance, rent allowance. It's already catered at the Standing Joint Negotiation Committee. So if Fair Wages is saying they have not negotiated with the GBC, it is total false. One of the false statements that he made was that the collective agreement is over age, which means that it expired.
Okay.
The law says until you review the collective agreement, what you have is binding. So collective agreement is a living document. So you cannot vary. Now, again, even if you found out a challenge or discrepancies, so far as the allowances are concerned, you cannot unilaterally take a decision by stopping it. It's a violation of the Labor Act 651, 2003. These are the government of our concern. If you have a challenge with our allowances, engage the negotiation party. Then, if there's any variation, if we don't have a case, then you can agree that yes, you are varying it. We are reminding Fair Wages again that the spirit and letter of the Fair Wages is not coming to worse of the existing condition of workers. If you cannot improve...
In your bargaining agreement, they've stated there explicitly that these allowances will be paid to you.
Exactly. Yes.
And that's what government is taking back now.
Yes.
Is that what is happening now?
Exactly. So it has been stopped by this month's payment, May salary payment. A lot of money. And then they start, what is retroactive? Meaning all the allowance, the time we take it, over 30 years now.
They are taking them back.
So the question, what about those who have enjoyed and are on retirement? So they've started a deduction. That's why you see some people, this May salary deduction, 600, 800, until they'll finish deducting all the time we started. This allowance went before even the Fourth Republic. So anytime there's review on the collective agreement, those allowances are brought back.
But where are you getting the understanding from that they're doing a retro deductions to, like you say, 30 years since you've enjoyed this allowance?
It's even more than 30 years.
No, how are you coming to that conclusion? Have they?
Because if anything that you have been deducted from, that they claim you've illegally taken, and they started deducting, you have to take it from the time I or any of the workers start taking that or enjoying such allowance. Allowance, you are talking about rent allowance. For the unionized level, 60 cities, 40 cities. Somewhere, in which part of Accra? is even Lotto kiosks is being rented at that level. That one, if you are not even looking at it, that it is woefully inadequate. And you are rather even taking it off. Car maintenance allowance is part of the work of the public service workers and being negotiated and being improved or agreed for. How can you say GBC is not entitled to be paid that allowance? A meeting with the management from the fallout of the Minister of Information meeting with the management of Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and that of GBC, when they were asked to go in further engagement, he admitted there that the workers of GBC qualify with it so far as the vehicle maintenance allowance is concerned.
Who admitted?
The CEO of Fair Wages and Salary Commission. This is just disheartening. Sometimes I think as if GBC worker is a slave work. They decide how to free the workers of such a public sector organization and seem as if it's a crime to work in GBC. Samuel, if you have a negotiation with your management, the multimedia group, none, either you or any of the management will unilaterally vary that contract unless the two of you sit at the bargaining table and then decide that, Sammy, this is what we're going to do. And you also tell your story that you have this challenge. You want an agreement that the salary should be increased or you should maintain, taking into consideration what management position so far as the financial situation of the corporation or the organization is concerned. This is what is done. But Joy or multimedia cannot unilaterally take away or reduce your salary for apparent reason that by claiming that you don't deserve such a salary.
Mr. Razak, yes, once this is law, so is what your bargaining agreement says you should be entitled to. If government has taken that action and Fair Wages you think is not on your side, why not go to court?
Going to court, but there are various processes. You can't just get up and go to court. Okay. You know, there are various processes of going about this. Normally, when we are going to negotiate, we'll have the Public Service Workers Union who will represent GBC at the table and then negotiate on behalf of the workers. So under no circumstances, what is happening, the best procedure should have been inviting the Public Service Workers Union to come and sit with the Fair Wages and Salary Commission and tell them this is what we have detected or this is what we want to do. And for that matter, we want to vary so that the necessary explanations and the historical documents could be given out to convince them whether there's a need for that or not. And if the way forward is to sit down and negotiate, that should have been the procedure. Unfortunately, the Fair Wages and Salary Commission has taken a stand to the extent that they just came and took the payroll of GBC under the guise of monitoring the payroll of GBC without recourse to the GBC management. Sit somewhere and just identify some so-called illegal allowances. Write to controller, copy the GBC management, copy the Minister of Finance, copy the Labour Minister, and copy our sector minister, which is the Information Minister, directly to controller to take those allowances off. And when we got the win, in fact, the unions actually got to know this when our management responded to that fair wages, drawing the attention to the extent that those allowances are negotiated approved allowances, which are as far back as 2006 and 2008.
What are those allowances?
Now, those allowances are allowances that are captured under public sector. This was even the last edition of negotiation 2019.
January 2020.
So those allowances.
2020.
Exactly.
So these are the allowances.
These are the allowances. Some of them we are talking about, mostly because they are category 2 and 3, and category 3 common allowances and the category 4 allowances. Now,
so are these allowances that they've written to you that they are withdrawing?
Yes. Because these are yes, allowances. To them we don't have it in the our collective agreement. We have it. The management showed them the collective agreement. One strange episode that we're encountering is that the Fair Wages is even avoiding to meet the union, a union that you've negotiated with. If there's any discrepancy, any challenge we have, you are obliged by the law to invite us back. But it's only meeting management. And what are the procedures? When you engage negotiation with Fair Wages, they first and foremost seek financial mandate from Minister of Finance. After they finish that negotiation with organized labor or individual organizations, they process through the Ministry of Finance for approval. The Ministry of Finance then approve and then give it to Controller Accountant General Department for implementation and payment. This is strange, but this particular payroll monitoring, it didn't pass through the Ministry of Finance, then straight to the Controller Accountant General. And we think Controller has also violated the Financial Management Act, because it's the Ministry of Finance that can approve and disapprove any payment so far as salaries and wages are concerned in this country. Again, if a controller is also accepting certain method of operation, what we investigate that any unanimous letter that goes to controller will even say these people are taking this salary, stop it. I think controller will also done the needful by doing an investigation into that. This is where national justice called for. You have not heard from the parties that are affected, and you are being implemented.
The law of natural justice here from both sides. So all of these allowances, does it affect all staff of GBC or some of you?
No, the collective agreement spelled out which unionized staff or classification of workers enjoy this type of allowance. Senior management union, they have allowances that are entertainment, cleanliness allowance, domestic allowance, and all those things.
Okay, which are not part of
it.
Okay,
it's part of this document.
Okay,
it's approval. Or if you take the whole of it, you got all the allowances that are being mentioned are in it. Then they are the unionized level, which are union and rank and file of the workers. Okay. They have that kind of vehicle maintenance allowance, rent allowance, and computer allowance. So these are the few allowances that, so far as the management level, unionized staff, and then the junior level staff are concerned.
Okay. So just to refresh our memory again, what reason is the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission given for the withdrawal of this?
The reason was that we are not qualified. According to him, GBC workers are not qualified to these allowances per his own reasoning, the way he categorized it. One of the reasons that we did not negotiate with the fair wages, but this generalized allowance or common allowance are not negotiated by fair wages solely with no institutions. Since 2013, no individual organizations go to negotiate with Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. They negotiate at the standing joint led by the Organized Labor Secretary General of TUC. The second leg of the core allowances, which is non-core, institutional specific, that one GBC goes to Fair Wages and negotiate there. When you say institutional specific allowances that are peculiar to only GBC, okay. So those allowances, that one is not negotiated under the Public Standing Joint Negotiation Committee, but it's negotiated under one-on-one led by the PSW, Amanda Union, to negotiate with Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Okay. So these are entirely different. Okay. He might have forgotten that these allowances have already been negotiated at a standing joint, so we are drawing his attention.
Okay, but is it not because he feels that you're taking double allowances? Because one, you're taking this one, plus the one that is negotiated by, like, GBC specific, and that's why he feels that, well, take one and leave one out.
No, it is not double allowance. Okay. Let's situate to Joy FM as part of GBC, as a public broadcaster. Your management is supposed to take clothing allowance, entertainment allowance. Then the collective agreement captured it. Then the specific allowance that is not clothing allowance, that's why it doesn't belong to any other organization apart from Joy. Okay. So your clothing allowance per diem, that is per diem, travel abroad and then going out of duty in the regions. Those allowances are determined at another level. So it's not double allowance. It is a separate allowance that is being enjoyed. And those allowances, it depends on areas that individual worker in GBC fund. So a certain allowance purely for operational staff. Operational workers like radio, TV, engineering, and other aspects where we have other sessions that do not enjoy those allowances.
Okay. Ms. Mohammed, so once he said you do not qualify, did you find out from him How come you were on one side qualified and you enjoyed it over the years, and today you are not qualified? Did you find out?
Yes, in fact, I think he will be the. In fact, yes, somebody who said he's not ready to even listen to anybody, to the extent that he made certain allegations to the extent that laborers in GBC are taking computer allowance, which is excuse to use my word, which is not true.
Do laborers use computers?
Excuse me. So when our manager got the opportunity to meet him on 23rd May, they told him, "Oh, you make this assertion to the whole world that this is there are some laborers who are also enjoying certain category of allowances. Can you please give us a list of the details of it?" He said he's not obliged to do that. If he was actually telling us the truth, I think the best thing should have been, "Oh, Mr. A and B, this is it." Because if you monitor somebody's payroll, an organization like GBC, it is only fair that if you detect something, you come and sit down with the management and say, "We have detected A, B, C, D. Can you please explain this to us?" I think naturally, in any monitoring or auditing, you should be able to tell them. So they will explain whatever. But unfortunately, he said he's not obliged to give them such information. So in that case, what can you do? The person is making an allegation to the whole world that there are some category of people, laborers taking computer. And say, "Oh, we have met you. Can you please give us?" You know, you won't give it to us.
So this is a unilateral decision.
That's it. Yeah, seriously.
It's an affront to the Labor Act. Okay. Because that's what you're saying that you cannot.
So that's why I was asking you. Once you've started to knock on the door of fair wages and they are not opening because they are not meeting you, why not escalate to the courts then? Because that's your right.
The right. What we are doing is also right, guaranteed under the Constitution. Workers, you also enjoy the right to strike, to demonstrate, to announce your displeasure or your happiness that is being faced off. So the court will be the last resort. Okay. But union, it will be something that you end up rushing to courts. Okay. Those are the right to guarantee
their procedures.
Constitution and their procedures. Again, they rather don't even fail to follow the procedure. Why is it the Fair Wages and Salary Commission is avoiding a meeting with the union that negotiated those kind of allowances?
Interesting. We've been trying to get the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to get their side of the story and to understand why they are refusing to meet the unionized staff of GBC, but we've been unsuccessful so far. But we'll be keeping an eye on this because you're raising some issues that we think that we need to get them to really understand.
We would have been exceedingly grateful if they were part of this discussion. We meet one-on-one, bring the argument, and then we all debate on this table. Okay. It's unfortunate that they are not here.
Okay.
They must do the needful. You see, before any of these things...
Just about 30 seconds for me. Okay. Yeah, I mean...
Before any of these things, the first step they should take to revise or reverse the decision they've taken, then we move forward to negotiate. But they cannot take a decision and be asking for negotiation. Okay. They should do that. It is spelled out how all these disputes are. They address so far as the labor law and any aspect of law that govern organized labor is concerned.
Okay, all right. Mr. Mohammed, so this 600, 800 is like trying to do a deduction of an accumulated allowances you've taken over the years.
So I don't even know where they're going to start. Like you said, most of these allowances were negotiated and approved as far back 2008. So if you say today you are going to retro-net offset it, where are we starting?
So in which form will your strike take?
No, you know, we have, you see, GBC, you know, a very seasoned union, very robust union. We know how to do it. We will not tell how.
So you won't tell us?
Exactly, it's a strategy. Okay. But when we are ready to deal, it will be in phases. Phase one, Sammy, I will indicate it.
Okay. All right, so that's Sam Natkebo. He is Divisional Union Chairman of GBC, and Abdul Razak Mohammed, Chairman, Senior Management Staff Union of GBC. You are still watching the Pulse here on the Joy News channel. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. Now, the Supreme Court has, in a unanimous decision, declared that it is unconstitutional for chiefs to endorse candidates or their parties. The court, however, pointed out that chiefs praising or lauding the policy of a candidate is permissible. This is the Apex Court's decision in a case filed by legal practitioner Elom Kwame Goni against the Attorney General. Legal Affairs correspondent Joseph Akable reports.
Ghana's constitution bans chiefs from participating in active party politics. Chiefs wishing to do so and also to contest political office are required to abdicate the stool or skin they occupy. What constitutes active party politics has been a subject of spirited public debate, with some insisting chiefs' endorsement of parties, candidates, and their policies is within the law. Despite the uncertainty, chiefs have not shied away from speaking. The work you are doing here, I didn't see Kwame Nkrumah, but from 1979 to date, no one can say he has worked more than
79 to date.
Anyone who disagrees, I will turn into a serial caller, and if that person defeats me in such a debate, I will abdicate. Some have had to even at times clarify their comments. If you cannot say something against him. In the same way, your younger brother who has left also came. You can't say something against him. If each person is... Various experts have raised concerns as well.
If the House of Chiefs cannot manage their own people, they are supported by God, they give them big cars and all that. And I understand some persons. You see, so it's a very difficult situation.
Legal practitioner Elom Kwame Goni took the matter to the Apex Court, seeking its interpretation. The court, in its judgment, authored by Justice Emmanuel Yoni Kulendi, laid down what comments are lawful and which ones are unconstitutional. The court said statements that praise a policy or program or a project of a candidate or a party are permissible endorsements. On the other hand, those other statements where a chief is heard endorsing the person of the candidate or his party or urging voters to vote for them are the kind of, quote, taking sides, end quote, in a partisan political contest that the Constitution disapproves of. The court noted that chiefs are not barred from expressing their opinions about matters that are subject to public debate and discussion. This, he added, strikes the right balance between the rights of chiefs and reasonable expectations associated with their role and the public interest concerns that animated the said constitutional provisions.
So that's a report by our court correspondent Joseph Akablede. We're joined now by Obrimpon Hemadechi, the 14th Paramount Chief of Upper Disk of Traditional Area. Nana, thanks for joining us here. We're grateful for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Kudu.
All right. Now, first of all, your thought on the ruling that the Supreme Court has given that chiefs must not meddle in politics in terms of supporting candidates or their parties.
Very well. Thank you. And let me say a very good afternoon to your viewers and listeners. Yes, I've followed the judgment. I think the judgment is apt. I think taking into consideration the times and seasons that we find ourselves and the role that chiefs will do play in the community, I think it will not be too expedient for any chief to take side in terms of partisan politics, supporting a particular candidate, just to maintain the dignity of the institution that our forebears bequeathed to us.
But other people do argue that you are part of the developmental agents in the communities, and therefore, when it comes to deciding on the main developmental agent, you should have a say. How do you put that face to face with, or vis-a-vis the kind of ruling that the Supreme Court has given?
Yeah, Kojo, on this particular issue that you've raised, I think the Supreme Court was very clear in its conclusion, indicating that we are not barred from actually criticizing or speaking on matters of interest, so long as the governance of the country is concerned. But what they eschew, or what they actually ask chiefs not to engage themselves in, is the issue of the endorsing a particular candidate. Because as a chief, you are supposed to be the father for all. So if two children or your children are actually engaging in a fight, you do not take side with one particular, but you play a neutral role to to ensure that you bring peace amongst them. That's your role. That does not mean that if something has got to do or affect the governance of the nation. If there are certain political issues, we do not have a say. We do. The issue of Galamsey, other important matters that actually sees to the development of Ghana, chiefs must have a say, because we are the natural or the original custodians of the land. And as such, development of the nation is our main concern. And that should be differentiated from endorsing a particular candidate. I think the Supreme Court was very clear on this issue.
So how do we really do it, or how can chiefs do it to then draw that clear line between endorsement of the candidate or supporting the policy of the candidate?
Could you let me indicate that in the time that we find ourselves, politicians actually pay catch calls on chiefs. And when a politician pays a catch call on you as a chief, you are definitely requested to say one or two words to them in the form of an advice. And so because you live in a community, definitely your people have concerns. They raise issues. As a chief, you listen to the news, you know what is happening around the country. So when you pick up some of these species, when the political parties, candidate, they come to your outfit, it is within your right to actually address issues of concern, of public interest to them. Let me give an instance. If as I sit in my palace, should any presidential aspirant come to my traditional area to pay a catch call on me, if I get as I support you, I know that you win this particular election, I've given you all my support, I will even mobilize my people to even vote for you on such matters. These issues are very clear. You know that they actually depict the issue of endorsing a candidate. However, if you advise the particular party that, look, we are entering into an electioneering period, we shall entreat you all to ensure that we have a free and fair election. We should have a peaceful election without actually any party, any citizen or any person living in Ghana for that matter loses his or her life. Such issue is of public interest and is differentiated from actually endorsing that particular person and even indicating that I will give you my vote, I will support you, I will even ask my people to give you their support for you to win this election. These two situations or scenarios are quite distinct and they can be differentiated from one another.
So once we have this ruling now, it sort of clears the way as to how things should be done. How do you suggest your colleague chiefs should approach this ruling going forward?
KB, on the National House of Chiefs platform, I saw Professor SKB Asante. He indicated on our platform that this is a must-read for all chiefs. And I've seen other colleague Paramount chiefs also follow suit and actually indicating that it's a must-read judgment for all chiefs. So all chiefs must read. In fact, it's not just a judgment. It traces back the history of chieftaincy before colonialism, and even during the period of post-colonialism, and even drawing us into our current era. It gives a vivid ruling on how the institution of chieftaincy has gone under certain attacks and has still survived. So it's a must-read. In fact, we are being encouraged to play a neutral role. And we have been engaged in party politics all along. All they are actually asking us to stay away from is the active partisan politics aspect of it. Active partisan. In fact, I think the key word that we should have even stressed much on should have been the partisan nature of it.
Okay.
The partisan nature. Because everything that we do in this world, in Ghana, for instance, right from the food we eat to the time we go to bed and wake up, everything is political. So there's no way any chief cannot engage him or herself in a political issue, so long as the development of Ghana is concerned.
Okay.
However, we are advised that for the sake of the dignity of the institution, to preserve this heritage that our forebears bequeathed to us, we need to stay away from the active partisan nature of the politics that we so do, to ensure that the institution of citizens is preserved, and we also leave it for the generation years unborn.
Now, to support it, Article 276 states a chief shall not take part in active party politics and any chief wishing to do so and seeking election to Parliament shall abdicate his stool or skin. But so you are a chief, a paramount chief at that. How problematic was this practice where chiefs were endorsing political party candidates?
Well, the difficulty lies with the fact that if I endorse a particular candidate and that particular candidate has no win, and the other party wins, what happens to development in my community? You get the drift. We've actually made politics so partisan, and we become too vindictive to the point that sometimes if you should come out openly to even criticize or critique a particular policy of a government, you are attacked as belonging to a particular or endorsing a particular candidate. It becomes problematic. And trust you me that now our hands are tight as chiefs. We did not use that kind of power that we had before. So now almost every, in fact, it is sad that even the resources of the nation, that you own the surface but you do not own what is beneath it. So everything, the minerals in its deposit at the central government. So if you need development, you need to talk to the central government, to lobby projects into your community, to develop your community. So if you so take a position or endorse a particular party, and that particular party or candidate does not win, then what happens to development in your community? And should there be an issue between these political parties, are you better placed to even invite them to your palace and even try to resolve the issue? That's why we advise that we should remain neutral and not to publicly declare our stance. You and I know that there's no single particular chief or any individual chief who does not belong or does not exercise his right of franchise. We all vote, and we all know whatever particular candidate we are going to vote for. But coming out publicly to declare your support, I think is not proper. And I think once we have all agreed that we shall abide by the dictate of the Constitution that has become the supreme law of Ghana, we need to respect the dictate of the Constitution.
So amongst yourselves, I mean chiefs, were you discussing how problematic this practice of chiefs endorsing political parties is amongst yourselves? And what were some of the suggestions that you were coming up with?
Well, it is not surprising when we saw this judgment, because on the floor of debate at the National House of Chiefs, these are some of the pertinent issues we have always discussed amongst ourselves. And it's not strange, because the decisions that we have always arrived at the House of Chiefs is what the Supreme Court has actually brought on board. So we are all reasoning on the same front. In fact, our minds with that of the Supreme Court, in fact, they are at them. So it means that we are on the same wavelength. So we agree, so it's a good judgment, and we advise that every chief should do well to read this 40-page judgment that the court has brought out. In fact, as I indicated, it does not only address the issue of Article 276, it goes beyond it. It gives the history, even the existence of the institution and some difficulties that the institution has faced over the past years.
Yeah, but I mean, were you chiefs yourselves seeing this as a problem that you expected that the Supreme Court will one day probably give interpretation into it to ensure that this problem that you knew, was curtailed? Were you seeing it as a problem before this?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Was it only your viewpoint, or other chiefs also saw this as a problem?
At the National House of Chiefs, currently comprised about 80 chiefs, almost every particular chief in the house saw that as a problem and advised that chiefs should eschew themselves of this kind of behavior. Just the whole essence, the stress has been on the fact that we need to preserve the dignity of the institution by remaining neutral. We have every right as chiefs and as citizens of Ghana to address issues of concern of public interest regarding governance of the nation. However, we should try our best to desist from endorsing individual candidates or particular parties. So that has been a major concern. So I think it's a relief. It's a relief for the National House of Chiefs and the chiefs in Ghana that such a judgment has come at such a right time.
Obrimpo, I am grateful to you, and we are extremely grateful that out of your busy schedules you could have time to speak to us this hour. Grateful, sir.
Thank you.
So he is Obrimpo Hema Dechi, the 14th, the paramount chief of Upper Discove traditional area in Ahanta, the Western region. Well, you're still watching The Pulse here on the Joy News channel. This is your election headquarters, and the governing MPP's Council of Elders is holding a crucial meeting with flag bearer aspirants with suggestions that some should consider placing their ambitions on hold. 10 individuals, including Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, former Trade Minister Alan Kwadwo Chiramanting, have all pegged nomination forms so far. Chairman of the Council of Elders, Hackman Owusu Ajman, believes the party's interest will be better served if the aspirant could agree on what he calls a consensus candidate.
Undoubtedly, there are two shades of opinion. Some believe the number doesn't matter. Some believe also that when we had the 17, you remember, in 2017, it didn't do us much good. And after that, we were not also able then, some of the people who felt they lost did not contribute fully to their campaign. And that is why we are engaging these people now to understand that competition is the name of the game in democracy. But when the results are known and we know who the person is, then all of us have to rally around the candidate and push him forward. And that we have been impressing upon them. So it's not too early, and I believe that it's going down well. Then so far what we've done has been very interesting, getting to know some of them, and some of the programs they have up their sleeves are also very exciting.
Okay.
So that's what we are doing, sir.
Any possibility you'd advise some of them to probably reconsider stepping down and then, trying to do it another time?
Yes, sir. We've impressed upon them need of what we call negotiation in political strategy, and that if the strategy demands that some people must do this, I think in the interest of the party and for its unity, it will not be out of place. But quite obviously, so far, everybody wants to stand. But I think that even after the Electoral College, we keep talking as a fraternity, and we should be able then to understand ourselves. But if it doesn't work, so be it. We will go for the election and eventually find who the winner is. For my personal view, I think that if we can look at the issue of getting a consensus candidate, it will help us tremendously. But of course, in democracy, nothing is perfect, and everybody has his rights. And so what we have to ensure is that we have a free, fair, and transparent elections without any intimidation, without anybody feeling that he's intimidated. And when we do that, we think we'll be able to eventually get everybody on board. Of course, there's the undertaking they will have to undertake in the documentation that they have to submit to us, to the elections committee. We're telling them they are undertaking to do everything within the rules, within the boundaries of the rules of the game, and also make sure that they don't, it's devoid of insults and everything. There's decorum in the whole process.
You have an idea who that consensus candidate could be?
No, sir. I can't. At this moment, I can't. But I think the way I see it, honestly, it will be difficult to get a consensus candidate because everybody comes in and everybody thinks that he is winning. I think this is the duty of democracy. Everybody thinks they win. If they get a 0.001%, they come and before the election they think they win. So it will be very difficult. And I cannot hazard a guess at all as to who the consensus candidate will be. But I think if it does happen, then it will be lie in the bosom of the party, some of them, to look at it. But it's very difficult. So I think it's becoming chasing some stars which we might not get. But I wish we could get a consensus candidate, and then we would have had it that way.
This on a lighter note. When you were also contesting at the time, did you feel that you were going to win?
Yes, I mean, that's why it's John of Blessed Mary, rest in peace, said, fear delegates. They give you the impression that you are the one and the only one who are going to win, and then at the end of the day, it turns out to be something else.
Okay.
I think it's a matter of popularity, really, and also of competence. I mean, the two fused together. And I believe that I thought I would win, but as it turned out to be, that was not to be. But as I said, in democracy, some win, some lose. And then I think that the record of this government would play, and then we should, the Agenda 2024 should see the NPP winning more seats. And what we did wrong, we are going to do right this time. If we don't learn from lessons of history, because we dropped from 169 to 137, it was traumatic.
So who are the people in this race so far? I already told you that there are 10 people in this race. Let's share with you details of the people who are already in the race. We've tried to do a profile of all of these people. We'll bring that to you shortly. But joining us now is Dr. Prince Sodoke Amozu, spokesperson for Honorable Dr. Ousu Efriye Akoto, presidential flag bearer aspirant of the NPP. Doc, I'm grateful that you could join us here. Now, you heard the chairman of the Council of Elders there. First of all, how is the issue of a consensus candidate coming to you and your camp? How do you really take it?
Good afternoon, and grateful for the opportunity regards to all our great listeners. I must say that the chairman of the Council of Elders is made a point continually and is in good stead. We do not have any challenge at all about workability of all the people that are contesting, because we believe that we are from the same family. Whichever of us emerges the flag bearer of the party, we should be able to build consensus and move forward to break the 8 in 2024. Okay. In fact, this is one of the reasons a lot of the delegates, this keeps coming up, that sometimes you have to also pitch with a candidate that has the capacity to bring people together after such a primary. And that is why many people are saying that Dr. Ousu Efriye Akoto, a man that has less baggage, is a man that has strong intellectual and professional, capacity, and also have demonstrated ability to work with all, is preferred candidate for this particular moment of our crisis.
If you listen to Mr. Hackman Ousu Ajiman, if your candidate should be spoken to say, give up for a consensus candidate other than him to run, will he accept it?
He's the supposed consensus candidate. So I'll be surprised that rather come to him, rather. Because if you look around and look at the people that are showed interest, he stands very tall.
But let's just assume it is not him. Is he willing to then step down for that consensus candidate to go?
That is the assumption I've just raised your doubt about.
Yeah, I get it. That you think that the consensus candidate is him, and I'm just asking that let's assume that it is not him, it is someone else. Will he accept this?
At that point, I think when we get to speak with him himself. But if you ask me, he's a consensus candidate that the people are saying.
But you do accept that there should be a consensus candidate?
The people will choose this consensus candidate in the election. In the November, for people of the MPP delegates have the opportunity to choose a candidate that they believe can bring the party together after the primary. And that is the one you are talking and referring to as a consensus candidate. That is the one they want, because they don't want to bring somebody who will make it so difficult, to break the 8. So this is one of the biggest constitutions of the delegates as we've gone around the country. This is how we are picking the signals.
Okay. But you agree that if it can't, there should be a consensus candidate so that you don't have to waste a lot of time and resources conducting primaries?
It's not a waste at all. It's a democracy. Unlike NDC, who don't have a lot of presidential material. MPP, we have the men, and we keep saying this all of the time. Look at the cadre and caliber of people who are expressing interest. None of them is unqualified. These are well-groomed people that have capacity to lead this country. But we are in a particular moment now in our country, and you and I know that our biggest challenge is the economy. This is why Dr. Usofri Akuto has proposed a solution to this. And that's why I'm telling you that people are looking at it, the delegates, and they are the ones going to choose the candidate that will make it easy for us to break the 8.
Okay.
And they find this candidate in Dr. Usofri Akuto.
You mentioned that they shouldn't pick a candidate that would make it very difficult for you to break the 8. Who amongst the candidates will probably make it difficult for you to break the 8 if he or he is chosen for now?
The delegates know these things, and I have confidence that they will choose the person that gives us the least baggage, the person that gives us the least trouble to be able to break the 8. You know, breaking the 8 is become so because this is going to be our first time in the first public for any party to be able to go to a third term in our country. That is why this has become a big significance for any conversation as we are having now. And the delegates in MPP are well aware that it's not an easy task. It's not sloganeering. It really has to do with work. This is why the conversation is going more into those that have the vision to put forward so that we can all discuss it and analyze it and see who has the capacity to break the 8. This is who the delegates are going to choose. This is for them to choose. And this is the democracy of our time.
Now, how is the camp seeing the numbers after picking up forms?
We are expectant of more people picking the forms because we know MPP have the people that are willing to serve our country, Ghana, people that are willing to serve our party. So that is no surprise at all. But as we have said, we have been on the ground for a while, and the delegates are speaking to us, and they give us the encouragement and confidence, particularly the farmers and also friends and the delegates and people that went to pick the form for Honorable Dr. Usofri Akuto. When he spoke to them and said, look, what you have done has put confidence to me, and I'm humbled by this action that you have taken, and I'm going to make sure I do a strong campaign so I do not disappoint you and make your hope come true.
If you follow the chairman's statement very well, it looks as though they want to meet the candidate to get some of you to then step, or some of them to give up their ambitions and support, the consensus candidate. So it won't even come to a primary. So it's a decision that will be taken in the boardroom. Is this the form that you support?
There's no challenge or difficulty about people in the political situation, people coming together to make some agreement. But like I've told you, the MPP, if you look at our tradition in this Fourth Republic, this type of conversation, as Chairman himself alluded to, it will be very difficult at this time because there's some serious matters on the table, and we need to make sure that we get a very competent person, a person that has the capacity to take us off the crumbs of the IMF. This is the kind of conversation we are having, and so it will be very difficult for anybody to say, oh, everybody step aside and let one person go. And who is that one person? When you ask Chairman said that it's difficult for him to tell you. But I am able to tell you because I know what the delegates are saying.
Okay.
They are looking out for Honorable Dr. Usofri Akuto.
All right. And how's the campaign going so far?
Very well. The message of Dr. Akuto is very strongly being related to by the people. And he is saying that, look, let us use agriculture to lift Ghana out of poverty and assure ourselves of not only food and nutrition security, but also to generate the necessary resources for the development of the other sectors, including industry, health, education, and infrastructure in the medium to long term. This is the gist of his vision, and the people are really, really impressed about it, and they are with him. Majority of the delegates are farmers, and they can relate with this very easily.
But so how would you answer the question of these same farmers saying that, well, during his tenure, a lot of things that we were expecting didn't happen? The subsidized cocoa later on became a bit problematic. How would you address these concerns that some of these farmers have been pushing up?
To be frank with you, in a situation as we find ourselves, many people hold diverse views, and it's okay for people to hold diverse views. But the evidence does not tell the type of things we hear some people say. Okay. But majority of the people, if you ask them, they will tell you how the sector grew. Even the statistical service is saying, look, the biggest growth of our Fourth Republic for agriculture is 8.4, and that happened under the watch of Honorable Dr. Usefri Akoto, and the evidence is there. Okay. Crop by crop, sector to sector, you can do the analysis. Even when you talk about inflation and all that, you look at agric inflation is the minimum. So these are the conversations we are talking. But for me, when we are doing this type of conversation, you should look at the data and the evidence.
Okay, all right. Grateful to you. So the thing is that you don't accept the boardroom arrangement. You should go to the electorate for them to decide, right?
It's also useful for us to say that, as the chairman himself has said, it's difficult for him to tell you who is this candidate. And I am happy to tell you that this consensus candidate is Honorable Dr. Usefri Akoto. Okay. And then if they continue this way and the others give in and give him the support, why not? We'd all be happy to have it that way. Thank you.
I'm grateful to you there. So that is by way of the discussion around a consensus candidate for the NPP. We'll keep an eye on how this one pans out. But two other stories. Paris Chapel's apostle, I think Bishop Ajanasare, has been given 14 days to appear before Nogokpo traditional leaders. Should he honor the invitation? We'll speak to a man of God about this. But we would like to hear from you. 0244-638-629. What do you think? Should he honor the invitation or should he not? Stay with us. We'll be back with more. Welcome back from the break. Now, we'll shortly take you to the Volta region where the elders of Nogokpo are giving Archbishop Ajanasare 14 days to appear before them. Else, they would also advise themselves. We have a poll on our Facebook page, Joy News. We're asking, should he honor the invitation or not? Some of you have already started commenting. Go there and share your viewpoint. We'll share that with the rest of our viewers. But in the meantime, over 25 million Ghanaians, including 8 million children, have benefited from 370,000 medical deliveries made through the services of Zipline within the last 4 years. In April 2019, government went into a PPP arrangement with the technology firm to supply life-saving medical supplies to hard-to-reach parts of the country. Marking its 4th year at Omenako on Thursday, the company's impact has been described by stakeholders as phenomenal. Carlos Caloni of Joy News has more.
With 27 drones and an average of 95 deliveries in a day, Zipline, which started its operations in 2019, now supplies 2,700 health facilities in hard-to-reach communities with over 5 million units of life-saving medical supplies such as vaccines and blood. Marking its 4th year anniversary on Thursday, June 1, the manager of health systems at Zipline, Kwesi Entry, touched on strict operational processes from observance of personal hygiene at the facility through shelving of drugs and vaccines, processing of orders to how the drones are finally launched for delivery. General Manager of Zipline Ghana, Mauli Atiemo, noted the company would continue to expand its services through strategic partnerships.
Since our launch in April 2019, the partnership has made significant strides in revolutionizing the healthcare sector in Ghana. Our cutting-edge drone technology has enabled us to deliver essential medical supplies, including COVID-19 immunizations, blood products, animal health commodities, and other health-saving drugs to 2,700 health facilities throughout the country. To date, Zipline has completed an impressive 370,000 deliveries of medical products, blood supplies, vaccines, and animal health commodities. We continue to leverage on our cutting-edge technology to enhance our logistic capabilities and forge new partnerships to reach even more communities and ensure no one is left behind.
Speaking at the event, the Deputy Minister of Health, Asesini, said the partnership between Zipline and the Ministry of Health is a shining example worth extending to other sectors.
Through this partnership, we have made Ghana a global leader in the use of drones for medical logistics. We must, as a nation, begin to look at the capacities of unmanned aerial vehicles extending beyond healthcare and ways to solve problems in other industries.
Excited at Zipline's impact in 4 years, especially during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, the U.S. Ambassador, Virginia Palmer, noted bilateral arrangements are in place between Ghana and the U.S. aimed at scaling up access to quality healthcare for all.
None of us imagined the COVID vaccine or the COVID pandemic when Zipline was being founded. And the tremendous impact you made in getting those vaccines out to people so that they could resume their ordinary lives is enormous. The United States government is working with you to build on these successes. The U.S. Trade and Development Agency signed a grant with Zipline earlier this year to fund a feasibility study to develop the infrastructure for the rapid delivery via drones of medicine and commercial goods across Ghana and West Africa.
Speaking to the press on the sidelines, the general manager added that even though technology adoption rate has been one of the company's biggest challenges, it is poised to venturing into other sectors.
Generally, the challenges has been adoption to technology and the fact that it's something new that has not been seen anywhere else. The questions about whether it really will work or not, now it's all for us to see that it's really working. So in terms of diversification, we're currently exploring other avenues such as agriculture. So we are looking at vaccination. We currently are doing vaccination in humans. We are looking to do vaccination in animals as well. So we are currently working with the Veterinary Services Directorate in a pilot to explore the possibilities of vaccination for poultry, for example, ruminants and other things.
From Zipline, Omenako, Carlos Caloni, Joy News.
Well, now joining us on Zoom is country lead for Zipline, Samuel Akufo. Grateful to you for joining us, Mr. Akufo. Look, I went to a community very far from here, and I saw that community really taught me the impact of your work. How would you describe your impact in general in 4 years since you've been in Ghana?
Thank you so much for bringing us on. I think the last 4 years have been really amazing. We started with one distribution center. Now we have 6 distribution centers across the whole country, and we have 7 facilities that are in very hard to reach areas. So far, we've done about 370,000 deliveries, delivered millions of doses of vaccines to health facilities in hard to reach areas. And we're currently serving about 60% of the geography in Ghana, which is about 2,700 health facilities. I think it's been amazing because lots of facilities are found in very hard to reach areas where it's not very motorable, right? Some are in island areas, some are on mountainous areas. And the regular ground logistics may not be sufficient all the time to be able to help them be able to receive their medications on time. And so the partnership with the Ministry of Health and Ghana Health Service has been a very collaborative one, which has allowed us to be able to extend this kind of service to those who are particularly in the very hard to reach areas, island locations, who would ordinarily have used boats to cross rivers and go through a lot of stress to get medications. I think in the last 4 years, our impact has been good. We've been able to serve a lot of health facilities who are in hard to reach areas, and the few studies that we've done so far have shown that with the use of our service, a lot of lives are being saved.
Okay. I think that for people of Jantrakrom, where I went, very far from here, very far from even Asankragwa, and that taught me that really you guys are doing some marvelous work. But in all of that, because when I was even driving to this community, I told myself I'll never drive my car here. I guess there are challenges that you guys have been faced with. What are some of those, and how are you overcoming these challenges?
I think the biggest challenge that we faced was the fact that the technology is a novel one, and most people did not have full understanding of what it was when we were starting. And so initially it seemed like that understanding was not there. And so people were not really, there was that level of resistance, which is okay for a new technology. But with the collaboration that we had with Ghana Health Service and the Ministry of Health, as I said earlier on, it was very collaborative to the point that we were able to integrate our services within the healthcare supply chain in a very, even though it was challenging, it was successful in the sense that all the parties that were had interests in what we're doing, stakeholders, were very forthcoming, and they were available to engage, they were open to engage. Even the communities that were serving, the chiefs, the police, the immigration, the DCEs, all of them were playing major parts, and we're also continually engaging. I think the continuous engagement that we focused on was what really helped us, so that we can be able to dispel all fears and all misunderstandings around what a drone is, because I'm assuming that if your grandmother sees a drone coming to her community, dropping a package, it seems a bit strange. But over time, I think people have gotten used to seeing the drone, and they now appreciate what the drone carries in its belly and what it's there to do, and people now understand it. So I think that challenge over time has gradually waned off, and I think we are beginning to see a lot more impact there.
What does the next 4 years look like for Zipline?
Yes, so the next 4 years would be really amazing in the sense that we are going to get even more innovative. Continuous improvement is one of our main values, where we don't sit on our laurels and hope that because we are doing great, we'll stay that way. No, we are continually improving, taking feedback from our customers, and we are improving our service. Now we are delivering human vaccines, blood products, medical products. We are, in the next 4 years, we are hoping to get into more newer use cases like animal health, supporting the distribution of vaccines even in animal health. We are also exploring the use of drones even within the urban spaces, to the point that in the next few years, it wouldn't be so strange to have a home delivery, where if you have a bedridden patient who is unable to go to the hospital, they can actually receive the medication at their home. So there's the likelihood of seeing a lot more of these innovations in the next 4 years, but we are very much committed to ensuring that the healthcare supply chain that we are working to integrate in, we are fully committed to continue improving the service that we are providing, so that we can even do much more for the people of Ghana.
All right, incredible. And I guess this incredible work is also bringing you the sort of revenue that you should be expecting. I mean, once you're working, you expect to break even for your company. Are you there yet, or you are somewhere far off?
Well, I think the people of Ghana have been great. I think Ministry of Health has been very supportive, and we are very grateful for the support we've gotten so far. Yeah.
Okay. All right then. With this, your home delivery, I guess I'm told it's something you've even started to do some trials on, or that's not it?
Well, we are in the phase of doing some trials. We are still trying to look at the model. We are working with certain key stakeholders within the health space to sort of look at it from a research point of view, and so that we can be able to gather the right level of data to scale it, right? Okay. So it's still at the pilot phase. And so it's something that we know that it would have a lot of value, right? But we also want to do it the right way. That's why we are working with experts within the health space, who are people who work in Ghana here, health, the regional directors, and all these key stakeholders, to make sure that the real purpose for which we are bringing it is achieved. Okay. And then the expected outcomes are also achieved before we decide to even scale it onto like a bigger scale. Yeah.
Okay. All right then. Grateful to you. We are expecting that for those of us whose villages you don't have the Zipline services getting there, please kindly get there so that we can also enjoy them in our small communities when we do travel. And those of us who are already there will keep enjoying them. This is still the pulse here on the Journey Shadow. Now, the chiefs and people of Nogokpo in the Ketu South municipality have given the founder of the Parish Chapel International, Archbishop Charles Ajenasari, 14 days to appear before the traditional leaders. This comes after a video of him categorizing the town as the headquarters of demons in the Volta region went viral on social media. Earlier, the General Overseer said he had no intention to cast a slur on certain groups of people or their communities. We hear from him and the people of Nogokpo shortly, but before that, here's the original comment which started this whole controversy. But obviously the chiefs insist that failure on the part of the man of God to appear before them would compel them to take another step of action. Ivy Setoji attended a news conference and joins us with more. Ivy, what's the feeling like in the town about?
Well, the people are angry. They are not happy about his statement. They feel that even though he's married to a woman who is from the south, Keta precisely, he shouldn't have said that, especially if he really respects his wife. So what they are asking of him is to, within 14 days, appear before the elders and the chief of Nogopo to have this issue resolved amicably. According to them, they want to have a peace talk with him so that this issue can be laid to rest. So if he's not ready to do that, according to them, they will advise themselves because Nogopo is a town of peace. The people are very peaceful. There is no crime in the area, according to them. And so all they want him to do is to come in person and apologize so they can have that peace talk. Other than that, they will advise themselves.
We can now hear from them.
One, that having listening to the second trending statement he made on Sunday, 28th of May, 2023, he did not show any remorse of any regretfulness, an indication that he deliberately decided to tarnish the good reputation of the people of Nogopo. Two, that per our understanding and that of the dictionary meaning, he explicitly meant Nogopo is the headquarters of all wild, cruel, and evil people in the Volta region. Perhaps he might not know the term Nogopo very well. The chiefs and the people of Nogopo in the Ketu South municipality of the Volta region gives a 14 days ultimatum to Archbishop Ajina Sari, the founder of the Perez Dome International, to meet us in person for peace talks about his statement he made that Nogopo is the demonic headquarters of the Volta region. He made this derogatory statement when he was preaching in a summit at the Perez Dome in Accra on May 2023. In the sermons, he recalled an experience he had along with his co-pastors at Nogopo after attending a crusade in Aplau. That for evidence-based testimony, we want to make it known to him and the general public that when Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the first president,
So you had the call by the chiefs and people of Nogopo for the Archbishop Charles Ajina Sari to meet them for a conversation. Now, we put this on our social media platform asking what he should do. Some of you have been commenting on it. Now, I'll share with you some of the comments coming in. AJ Brown Bernard says, I'm watching from planet Mars with, okay, so that's what his comments there. But you can send us a WhatsApp message on 0244 638 629. 0244 638 629. You might want to send us your thought on WhatsApp. And we have a poll on Twitter, so you can go there and tweet at us. Now, the question is, should Archbishop Charles Ajinasare honor the invitation of the elders of Nogokpo? That's the question we're asking, and it's a yes or no question. So far, 55.2% of the respondents there say that yes, he has to respond or honor the invitation of the elders of the community. 44.8% of the respondents there say no, he shouldn't, honor the invite. And in total, 1,801 people have voted in this so far. So you can also go on to Twitter and look for Joy News there and comment whether or not, or vote, be part of this poll, whether or not he should honor the vote. Now, this one on WhatsApp, he says, or the person says, he should go and explain himself. Okay. This one here says, the Archbishop needs to honor the invitation. That's what some of you are sending us in. 0244-638-629 is the WhatsApp line. You can send us your comments. But on Facebook, Obuoba, technologist, says, yes, as a good citizen. Nana Bakupe says, so his church doesn't have elders who will advise him, and you think your opinion and this post has any impact on shaping his decision. Okay. Kweku Asamoah this year says the Archbishop erred, and it's good to make peace if the aggrieved people are not satisfied. This is similar to that Archbishop Duncan Williams versus the Muslim community. Give respect to whom it's due. So that's what he says. Derek Zams Adzo says he should go and use the opportunity to render an unqualified apology to the chief and elders. Okay, so that's it there. Ada Israel Selam says the Bible says we should respect elders. So if he is truly a pastor and a preacher of the word, he must honor the invitation. Okay. All right. Signal Bernard says no, he wasn't addressing a gathering at Nogokpo. So he was on his own property. They should rather focus on making and improving lives of the people in that area. Okay, so that's it. Douglas Doka Koyiri says, how can a Most High Priest be summoned by, okay, then we shall all contest in this 21st century, repeating the prophet, Baal against the prophet of the Most High. This one says, on WhatsApp, he says, I thought the man of God explained himself. They are trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. The man referred to the deity and not the people. Okay, thank you for that. Bishop must go there to make peace with the traditional leaders. They must always make fun of Volta region. Kennedy also made the words about Volta. Later he said he's married from Volta. Patrick sent this one in. Patrick, I'm grateful for your thought here. This one from George SCC. He says, no, he shouldn't go. That's what he said here. This one says, they should meet on a neutral ground. Okay, you didn't add your name, but he wants the meeting to be on a neutral ground. This one said, he should honor the invitation by the chiefs and the people of Nogokpo. Okay, thank you. This one also said he should not go. You didn't add your name, but he says you should not go. This one says he should just go and explain to them. Okay, so we are picking your calls as well. We have a caller on the line. Prince Labi. Prince, good evening. Hello, Prince.
Hello.
Let's hear your viewpoint. Should he go or he shouldn't?
Well, he should make sure he asks because the people are really dissatisfied with the comments that he passed, and I think he should go and honor the request.
Okay.
So that it's going to defy all stereotypes about that certain community. But some when you say the original, it's a dangerous place to go, but some people don't like it.
All right. Grateful. He thinks that he should honor the invitation. Right. Thank you very much. Hi, I'm Silla. I think he should because he has to apologize today. He has apologized from the beginning rather than trying to defend himself. The pastor should go and do the needful for peace to prevail. Watching the powers live from Denu in Volta region with my good friends Godwin and Emmanuel from Sir Willie. Okay, grateful to you. But all too soon, our time is up and we need to take a leave of you. I'm grateful that you could spend your time with us here on the Pulse on the Joy News Channel. My name is Samuel Kojo Braze. On behalf of the team here, grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Stay with us because we have more for you here on this channel.